Good morning. What's up, guys? Hey, this is Cody with Secure Agent Mentor and SecureAgentMentor.com. This is another podcast episode of Six Figure Focus. Is this something you're focusing on? Is it something you're thinking about? Are you writing down your goals every day? Can you see six figures in your grasp? Do you have a detailed system and a detailed plan to get you there? Again, this is Cody with Secure Agent Mentor. We bring you six-figure focus on a daily basis, talking about different insurance topics. If you have a topic that you want to suggest or recommend or request, please feel free to email me at cody.askins@secureig.com or message me through our Secure Agent Mentor Facebook. We will be more than happy to do a special request or a podcast episode based on your needs or what you feel like you need or want to hear. So this episode of Six Figure Focus is about selling Medicare. A couple of podcasts ago, we did one on selling final expense life insurance. This one's all about selling Medicare. Whether it's in person or over the phone, it doesn't matter. Medicare is one of the best ways to make long-term money in this business. I know agents right now that are making a couple $100,000, $500,000 a year or more, or even $1 million a year or more, selling Medicare in any fashion. And the ways they're doing that is, whether it's in person or over the phone. I know there's a lot of individuals that have call centers nowadays. There's a lot of individuals that are doing big, huge bulk mailers. I mean, it's all worked. I've sold as many as 30 Medicare plans in person in a month, actually in people's homes, about 30 in 1 month in person. And I've also done as many as about 50 over the phone in a month. So I know that either way works. And I'm actually still working through, I'm always trying to improve my processes and my systems, as we always should. Again, we always talk about if you're not improving, you must be doing what? You must be moving backwards. So we always want to focus on improving. We always want to get better. We always want to master our craft, as Will Smith said. So the reasons I sell Medicare and the reason a lot of agents sell Medicare is it's very simple and it's very easy. It's simple to us, but it's not simple to the product, to the consumer, because it can be very confusing to them. But they always say confusion breeds opportunity. So you know what? There's a big opportunity in the Medicare market, not to mention the baby boomers and all the individuals that are turning 65 daily, and just the massive amount of individuals in this country that are needing Medicare. I mean, it's best for long-term money. But it's also really awesome because clients have to have it. They need it. They have to have it. They're going on Medicare. They're turning 65. They're taking their Part A and B, whatever the case is. They're coming off group, whatever the case may be. They have to have it, and they want it. It also pays decent. It doesn't pay as well as final expense life insurance, but it still pays well enough. Because it's easier to sell these. You can sell more Medicare plans typically than you can sell final expense if you focus on both. So that way, the little less commission, we make it up in volume. Another thing that's also really awesome is that referrals are much easier to get. It's much easier to get referrals. If you've got a good enough client block of business, I get referrals on a monthly basis. And if I had been growing that block of Medicare clients on a daily basis, monthly basis, I'd be getting referrals every day probably. I know agents that are getting referrals every single day because they know people. If they're satisfied, number one, they go to McDonald's and they drink coffee with their regular group of people. They talk about it all. Or, you know what? They figure out that they want other people to have what they want. And you run into that a lot where they want to tell others about what they have, or they have a spouse or a brother or a kid or whatever that is asking them about it. Well, it's just easier for them to recommend Medicare than it is for them to recommend life. I don't know what it is, but you'll get referrals much easier. Now, the different ways to sell Medicare. And before I get into those, I want to say that, I have only sold Medicare and I've only sold final expense at different times. Well, you've got to be doing both. You can't just become, a policy peddler or a one-trick pony and not sell anything that you're licensed to sell. You should be willing and able to sell it and conscious of the potential opportunity that could arise, that could come up. Because one thing that I did really well, and I know agents that do an even better job than me, is if you're selling Medicare in person, you've got to be using a fact finder. You've got to be fact finding for the potential need for life insurance, potential need for long-term care, and a potential need for investments and annuities. There's a lot of people that are retiring every day where if we use a fact finder and get to know them and get to know what they're wanting to do, there's a lot of times we can write some type of estate life policy or long-term care plan or home health care or the opportunity for an indexed annuity. They're retiring, bringing money from their work into retirement, don't know what to do. If you fact find and if you don't just walk in just to sell a MedSup and run away, or to sell a MedAdvantage plan and run away, if you become more of a full service advisor and you take some time with these people, you can see short-term money and long-term money. It is incredible what you can do if you get in front of enough people, which that doesn't matter what product we're selling, but again, we're talking about selling Medicare and getting in front of people about selling Medicare. Now, the different ways to get in front of people when you're selling Medicare is, I know a few agents that just door knock. They door knock turning 65 all day, every day, and there's one agent that every time he at least door knocks on 25 homes, he writes a Medicare plan from that group, from that door knocking day. Doesn't mean he writes it that day, but he will eventually write one from that block that he door knocked. Maybe it's a week or a month later, but he's always sold one from those 25 knocks. Well, it's a little tougher than you think to get through 25 knocks. I know some agents that door knock for 5 hours and can't do it. Missouri, we're a little more spread out probably. Our population's a little more spread out. So maybe it's a little more drive time than the bigger cities or some places, which is true. You can also, and when you're door knocking, hey, Mr. Joe, Miss Betty, my name's Cody. I am the Medicare man. I assist people with their Medicare. Do you have Medicare questions? Can I come in for a quick second to show you what I can offer you? The goal in door knocking will always be, and I talk to agents all the time, they're like, you know what, I can't get in the home. Are you asking to come in? Are you asking multiple times to come in? The goal with door knocking is to either generate a lead, but first and foremost is you want to get in the house. If you're going to door knock ever, your goal should always be, I want to get in the home. I want to get in that house. I want to ask to come in, and I want to get to go into their home. Once you get to go into their home, a lot of good things can happen. All right, there's another way to sell Medicare. Also, you can cold call. I know agents that cold call. It's a little bit of a old-fashioned to cold call on your own, or for you to personally cold call. You can do it, but there's better ways to do it. And you can cold call to set appointments. You can cold call to sell over the phone. You can do anything, but cold calling still works. But I would hire people to cold call before I would just sit there and cold call. Instead of me talking to 99% of people that aren't interested, I'd rather talk to 100% of people that are. And just my time's valuable. My return on investment per hour is much greater than $10 an hour or whatever. Also, you can work lead cards. You can mail out lead cards with different mail vendors and get those back and go door knock them and call them and mail them and text them and email them. You can also work internet Medicare leads. I know a few agents that do that. You can also create mailers and send out mailers. I know I used to send out a couple thousand pieces a month, and I would send out a bulky, huge mailer in this big old yellow 10 by 13 envelope. I'd have candy in there. I'd have a short letter from me. I'd have details about Medicare. I'd have a few different pricing options. I mean, I blew it up because I believe if you're going to do anything, let's do it. Let's go out with a bang. Let's do it right. Let's do it in a big way, an awesome way. So yeah, when I did a mailer, I made sure that they remembered it. When I called, when I had people follow up with phone calls, or when I followed up with phone calls, they remembered that mailer. Number one, it was freaking huge and it was yellow, but it also had Smarties candy inside. And I would always do this kind of like this play on words. Be a Smartie, join the party. Be a Smartie. Be a Smartie with your Medicare. Be a Smartie, choose such and such insurance company, choose myself, whatever. But you got to be creative. We got to be creative, and we got to stand out from the masses because they're getting mail every day, all day. And there's a lot of agents that say mail doesn't work. Well, if you send a letter or some literature in a white envelope, that's not going to stand out from the masses, and that's not going to work. So you're not going to see results, which is fine. But if you're creative and if you stand out and your goal is to get attention and for them to remember you forever, mail will work. Any of these will work. Again, you got to be creative and you got to stand out from the masses. The next kind of newer way that people are doing is live transfers, is having telemarketers transfer them calls, or getting into hiring vendors to transfer them calls. And a lot of people that do very successful selling Medicare over the phone or setting appointments using live transfers is kind of the newer way to talk to people real time. There's also a new way that I'm actually working on right now that I should have wrapped up here in the next few months. It could revolutionize my Medicare sales as well as a lot of my agents' Medicare sales, and that's exclusive telemarketed Medicare leads for turning 65 at probably $2 to $3 each lead, which is incredible. But I'm going to make sure that they are quality, and I'm going to generate these. These are going to be self-generated. I'm going to be in charge. I'm going to be in control of what type of person I talk to, when I talk to them, how I talk to them, what I talk to them about, what they've been told, what they've heard, all those things. I'm going to have control over the quality and over every little piece. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out. Feel free to call me. Feel free to email. Feel free to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, any of those. Because that's something that is newer in the pipeline, but could make it to where you could get about 100 good quality Medicare leads a week at a couple bucks a pop, which you're going to close 10 of those, 10 or better, which is a lot. 40, 50 Medicare apps a month is well within grasp, but you've got to have the right system. You got to know the right people, like myself, to get you that system, plan, details, training, companies, comp, all those things to where you're ready, you're able, and you are ready to absolutely blow it out of the park. I've personally done ran a little mini call center where we've done as many as 300 apps in 6 months. It's all doable. It's all possible. And I can teach you what you need to know. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. And this is exactly what I'm here for. I want to help people, agents, no matter what they're selling. Yeah, you want to have a niche, but you also want to be able to prospect for other things within that niche. But hey, selling Medicare is the best way to make some serious long-term cash, to build up a renewal base, a residual income base that lives on forever. Again, this is Cody with Secure Agent Mentor and SecureAgentMentor.com. Thanks so much for listening. Again, this is Six Figure Focus. Today was talking about selling Medicare. Hope everyone has an incredible rest of your day. Please reach out if you have questions. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.